work with people a lot is their posture in their golf swing. And so if a good normal posture, a good posture for golf is if you take your setup in your golf swing, and we'll have Chloe demonstrate facing this way, is that when she gets in her hip hinge, if we draw a line from her upper back down to her rear end, it should be a nice straight line. A couple of the common faults that we see are either people get too arched in their lower back, like this, and that can put a lot of stress on the lower back, or it's the opposite. So they're too rounded, they're too kind of hunched over, and they're not in a great kind of neutral spine position. And so we try to do different exercises to kind of emphasize that nice kind of flatter back position, as well as get the arms and legs kind of moving in that position. Because once we find this position, which a lot of people are able to do in a static situation, then once you move, you still need to be able to control your pelvis. And so if the pelvis is kind of going all over the place without a lot of control, that's a problem in terms of our core stability. And in terms of golf, the way we generate power is we kind of generate from the lower body up. So we generate power through our legs. Energy's got to transfer through the core to the arms, to the club head, and ultimately to the ball. And so if the core is kind of wobbly, floppy, that energy is just kind of go everywhere. It's not going to be able to transfer energy efficiently and optimally all the way to club head and to the ball. So I like the quadruped position, so on hands and knees position, a lot to be able to train this movement. In this position, our shoulders or scapula are loaded against gravity, our hips are loaded against gravity, but the spine is not loaded against gravity in terms of that compression force. So it's easier to work and find kind of good postural or spinal control in this quadruped position as opposed to standing. And so first what I'm going to have Chloe do is just work on finding a good flat back. So she's going to work through her range. She's going to arch her back, she's going to flatten her back, and she's going to find a position that feels kind of neutral for her. And in that position, she feels that her abs and her core is kind of nice and activated. It's not going to necessarily feel really tight, but it's nice and activated. Right? From here, again, we need to be able to kind of control the spine as we're moving our extremities. So that's really what core stability is about. Good core control is, can we maintain good control through here as the extremities are moving? And so from here, we're just going to do a simple bird dog. She's going to lift her opposite arm and leg, and can she control her back through here, or do we see that she drops down into a big arch, or she kind of drops towards that unsupported side? Those would be things that we're looking for. That's not as good. So she has good control there. She can put down that's arm and leg, and then she does the same thing on the other side. Is she able to control through here, nice level pelvis, or not having any sort of deficits from there? All right, back down. If she feels like, hey, I'm doing pretty good at that, just moving my own body weight, we can actually make the exercise a little bit more challenging by using the CLX band. And so with the CLX band, we're going to start by looping 2 of the middle loops around her feet, so connecting or consecutive loops right around her feet. And then from there, she's going to hold and put her hands through loops where she has some tension on them on either side. All right. So we're going to first work just the lower body. So she found her kind of neutral spine where things are activated, and keeping the upper body still, we're just going to extend her right leg. So now she's got some resistance into that hip extension. She's working the glutes on that right side. She's actually working the down leg, that left side glute stability. And go ahead and back down. And the nice thing is, because she's pulled that band up with both of her hands, she's actually helps with her core activation, because as she pulls that band up, it actually helps to fire her core. So if she doesn't have that band, she's not getting as much core activation. She has to find it on her own. This is actually assisting with her core activation, getting this nice and stable, and then we're getting that active hip extension motion. If we want to progress it even more, make it a little bit more challenging, now we can go back to that alternating diagonal pattern. So now we're going to extend the right leg and the left arm at the same time. So we're getting some resisted hip extension on the right side, some resisted hip flexion on the left side, still a nice neutral spine pattern, loaded against gravity on the left hip, loaded against gravity on the right hip. It's really a full body exercise, and back down. And again, a great way to work all of those same patterns and those same muscles needed for a good posture in the golf swing, but we don't actually have to be in golf posture. And it's a little easier on the spine to find control in this quadruped position, on this hands and knees position, as opposed to standing up.